morning. Hope you're going well. Oh, Mother Nature's turning on the weather for us at the moment. Yeah, 10 mil, about 10 mil with that shower a few days ago. Yeah, so, and I think there's a bit more coming towards the end of this week, which is good. Just up here, Tony's away. I had to send him back, send him home. He's cooked with the flu, so he wanted to turn up, and his head's throbbing and everything. I just send him home. So yeah, Brendan's out, just doing a straw run, putting a bit of straw up out the back there, and he's going to bring a load home here. So yeah, I'm just up here mucking around with this river screen again. I just bolted that flexible joint on before I carried it up here on the telehandler. And then yeah, we've got a butterfly valve or non-return valve to go in there, and then yeah, the aluminium pipe will go back on. So I'll see how I go. I might be able to, on my own here, I might be able to do too much, but we'll sort of get it into place anyway, and yeah, have a bit of a play with it. But yeah, jumpers off. It's yeah, cracking day. So a bit of a frost early again this morning, but yeah, we'll get to it and see what we can do. I've had a bit of a play with this, and yeah, it's on actually had the pipe up on the back of the buggy just to get it up at the right angle until we get it out in the water a bit, but our bolts aren't long enough. So I'm gonna slip home and get a tape measure, and I've got to go to town this Arvo, and we'll get some longer bolts. So, and the other thing I've got to get, the guys, it's a fitting that hose that runs down into there, and that actually runs the sprinklers. Oh, you can actually see them there. The sprinklers, when the screen rotates, it's got sprinklers on the inside and outside, just as a sort of works as a filter. Yeah, the guys busted a fitting off there the other day, so I just got to get another fitting there before I can slide it back in the water anyway. But yeah, it should. Hopefully, it's all going to work. Yeah, that's the non-return valve. I don't know whether I showed you that the other day. So. Yeah, anyway, we'll have to put this on the back burner for a little bit until we get some bolts. Just having a bit of a cruise around, looking at a couple of things. This is the Lucerne that we did the winter spray on, and then yeah, we put some single super and potash on it last week. You can still see there's still a bit of single super, which is phosphorus, and then the potash is the potassium. But yeah, it's really starting to come away now with the warm weather. You just see that we're starting to get a few gaps between plants. So, and especially last year where it was so wet, we've sort of got these bigger areas where there's no plants at all. So, yeah, if you've been watching along, I think I did mention the plan will be is to let it run its course this summer, and then we'll probably come in, and whether we drill a grazing weed into it in the autumn, and we'll lamb down on it again, and then depending on water allocation and availability, we'll yeah, come in here with maize in essentially 2020, yeah, for summer 2024. So but yeah, the Lucerne, we'll probably give it another week or 10 days here, and yeah, we'll pull the lambs off the grazing crops, and we'll split them up into groups of sort of their big ones and little ones, and yeah, just keep the big ones away from the little ones so they don't bully them, which goes on. And yeah, we've got another paddock of feed here. We'll put the little fellas on, but the bigger guys can get stuck into this stuff, and we'll probably actually give them a bit of grain, trail feed a bit of grain as well that we've got left over, just to one, clean it up, but two, give them a hand to kick along. I've just had to come down, had a call from the neighbours. We've been having a few dramas with a few lambs getting through the fence, and anyway, Tony and Brendan spent half a day. There's a few trees down and a couple of broken wires, but yeah, it's been another half a dozen get through this morning, or no, sorry, another dozen or so get through this morning. So I just made the decision I'm just going to shift them off this grazing crop. I was sort of going to leave them on here for another week, was the plan. But yeah, we'll get them off, and we might even next day to run them in and wean the last of the lambs off the ewes. And yeah, but they're going to be little buggers and not stay where they're supposed to, we'll move them a bit further away and just change the plan as it always keeps changing. Morning. So we've got the river screen suction on the pivot pump back in. It was a bit of a three-man job. I didn't actually get any footage of it because it was a bit a bit tricky. So picked up the longer bolts yesterday afternoon, so we haven't fired it up or primed it up, so we'll just give it once it gets a bit closer to using it, we'll kick it in the guts and make sure it's all going to work. Just come over and had a look at having a look at the canola over here at our little dairy block. And as you can see, we're well and truly flowering, so it moves pretty quick this time of year, the canola. So I think the other day when we had a look, we were only not much flower at all, 4 or 5% something, and this stuff would be 20 or thereabouts. So back over here beyond where the ute is there, that was some of the stuff we irrigated, so it is a little bit behind, just because that bit of extra water has actually probably stunted it a little bit. But this dry land stuff that didn't get too wet, it's marched along pretty well. So we're going to get the plane in to do this stuff just with the trees and the irrigation bays and the channels and that. We'd just probably knock too much over. I'll get onto the plane now and book him up, and he can sort of come at probably any time. I've got the agronomist coming out this morning. He's gonna have a look at the stuff out the back. And as I mentioned, I think on the last one, I've got a mate coming over with his self-propelled sprayer, and he's gonna do the stuff out the back, and then I'm also gonna get him to do the knockdown here for where we're gonna put the bit that got drowned out. It's pretty weedy, so I'll get him to do the knockdown on it for the corn, and then we can start and get it organised. In sort of coming weeks. As I said, I'd like to put the laser bucket over it if we can, and just fill a few holes in and that sort of stuff. But can't really complain about the weather at the moment. More rain forecast, I think Thursday, and then even next week looks pretty wet. So this time of year, within reason, if we're getting 10s and 15 mils of rain in a week apart, it's perfect really. The days are longer, and it's been quite warm too, 18-19 degrees, so the crops are going to use it up. So so fun times at the moment. Contractors arrived. bit of trouble with wet country, as you've seen. Yeah, I've just hung around. He's nearly finished the paddock and got it a whole lot done, but we've just got a wet spot here. We were having trouble at harvest time and just sort of a bit of a depression where it comes off higher up the hill. So yeah, I'm going to try and pull him backwards this time, just because he reckons it's wetter in front of him. So we might just have to leave a patch there that, yeah, rather than sort of making a mess. Alright, hopefully that's the last time. He's nearly finished. It's just, as I said, where the depression comes off, it runs across the paddock here. And if you watch some of the early ones, harvest ones, we got badly bogged with the header there in this paddock, and we actually had to windrow the paddock. It had barley in it. We actually had to windrow it to get the ground to dry out enough so to carry the header. But yeah, I probably should have brought the bigger track, the Magnum out. It's a little bit heavier and the tyres are actually a bit wider, so we're sort of battling to get a grip, but the ground's actually pretty rotten there in spots. He's actually just headed round. Yeah, just driven around the wet spot there so he doesn't get bogged again. But anyway, we just have to make a mental note not to run into it at windrowing time with a windrower, because it won't be a lot of fun. Alright, hopefully that's all done for the bog sprayers in the canola, and fungicide's done. Next lot we'll get the plane in to do, just on the dairy block with the, as I said, with the channels and the check banks and mucking around. So anyway, thanks for watching again. We'll catch you on the next one. Ta-da.